What is up, Crew 2 Racers? It is I, Alex Cornnut, your wheelman. I'm here today with the Crew 2 United States East August 30th to September 6th Summit event. I'm going to show you everything that I can to try to help new or old players that sometimes struggle with this. I know that Acor does an awesome job on this, but he doesn't present it like I would like to present it to you guys. So I'm going to talk you kind of through why I make certain decisions, give you alternate options on some of the car choices on ones that aren't forced, and just kind of show you around the Summit from my perspective. I don't get super sweaty. I don't go for top 100 or anything like that. If I can lock in a top 1,000 or 2,000, I guarantee that platinum, that's all I care about. So we're going to call this platinum for noobs, and let's see if we can get you guys hooked up. So we'll jump into the Summit. There's some cars that I need to get, so we're going to go grab the bundle and just buy those outright real quick. So we're going to view that bundle. I always suggest doing that first and foremost. It's definitely a way cheaper way. In this case, we're saving about $400,000 in doing it that way. So we'll grab the United States East bundle. It's going to have... Alright, the first event we're going to do is the Escape. That is going to be in a boat or watercraft of some kind. So we'll go right into it here. I'll show you what vehicle I like to use. This is the 1414 Demon. I love this boat. I think it's one of the better boats in the game. So there's a couple different options, you guys. Like, just get a boat that you've got, you know, top speed on. So in this case, it goes like 196 under boost. It'll do over 200. The Vector V40R is not bad. I don't have parts on there, but if I was to take my parts off the Demon and put them on there, it takes that top speed right up to about the same place. So as long as you've got one of these decent boats, I really don't care for that one. The Offshore MK2 does okay. I really don't mind that one either. So just go with whatever you've got. I am going to show you my setup for the 1414 Demon and kind of walk you through why I do what I do on that. Now, I do have a full Nitrochemist set. That means that my nitrous is going to be doubled. That's really helpful. I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't new to the game, so I won't go over that. But one thing I do want to touch on is the settings. Now for drift assist, I don't want any of that. I turn that all the way down. Weight distribution, I've got that all the way to the back. By having it all the way to the back, it makes the boat get up on plane a little easier. Gives you a little more top speed. For the escapes, you really want that top speed as cracked as you can get. Rudder angle, I've got that to the high end of things, like an 8 or 9 seems to be good for me. I don't go all the way up, but 8 or 9 seems to be okay. In this case, I'll probably run it probably 8. Brake power, I don't even use the brakes. That's another thing I'm going to touch on here in a second. Buoyancy, I've got it all the way up. Gets the boat completely out of the water. Less friction altogether. It gets out of the water. I like that. Now on some of the ones where there's a bridge and you got to go into that, you might turn that buoyancy down a little bit so the boat sets a little lower. But for now, without having done this yet, I'm probably going to set it there. Hull friction, I have it at 1. Off is like on ice, and it's really hard to turn the boat. At least with 1 or 2, you've got a little bit of control over the boat there. So guys, go with what you feel. You might do 2, you might do 3 if you need a little more than that, but I think that that's about right for me. Trim tabs, I run on 4 or 5. That's kind of a preference thing. That's just kind of where I hold them and just run with it. So there's my full NOS chemist set. It's not perfect, it's not max rolled, so we got like 52 on extra pump, 16 on frenetic, and 61.2 on pure. Alright, the other thing I want to touch on is I've got my, instead of pulling back on the thumbstick to get the boat to come out of the water and get up on plane, I've got that mapped to left trigger. So it's like gas and left trigger. I pull them both at the same time and the boat just goes. And then I just turn the whole time. So if I need to turn a little sharper, I just let out the left trigger and it drops the boat down off a plane. So most of you guys have the control set up to where you're pulling back, and that's not a bad way to go. I was doing it that way for a long time, but now I have full control over my steering, and I can basically hold the boat backwards by just holding that left trigger. So that's something you guys might try. I think it's a pretty cool way to go about it. Okay, we've got it all figured out. Boat setup's the same. It's pretty easy. We did this in a previous summit. So you just go straight right when it spawns you, cut to the left, and just follow this spot out. The only tight, difficult spot is right here. You just get between the ramp and that bridge, and then you'll see I'm kind of pulsing the nitro, trying to keep it above 205 to 220. Just kind of giving it a little short burst each time. And then the optimal route's kind of to go to the left or to the right of that ramp back there. The left will work. You angle to the left of these buildings up here. There's a little kind of a stone bridge with archways. Just go under that. Just line it up before you get there. Pretty straightforward. Make sure you don't get tripped up on these pillars up here. Kind of aim for that cruise ship. Make sure you're utilizing your boost. And then just angle out straight towards the ocean. You're going basically kind of to the east, southeast. Would be the best way to look at that. And you want to make sure that when you finish this run, you have no more NOS in that boat. So just hold it out, get up to top speed. 767 is plenty. We'll see how I did as far as points go. Did 189 yards better than the last time I did it. So that'll give me 126K on the boat. That should be plenty to get me into platinum this week. So we'll go back to the summit and we'll do our slalom. This is the Ford F-150 Raptor Interceptor Edition. I've got a full score breaker set on there. Mind you, it's not crazy. So like I've got extra pump and frenetic on it, but being the score breaker with the bullseye, you double your points when you're doing that slalom. So that makes it a lot easier to get that score up. For the pro settings, it's pretty much just 10, 10, 10, 10, and then 4, 4, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5, 5, 6, 7, 9, 0, 0, 10, 10. Nothing special. I believe I got this setup from Acor. It's a pretty standard setup for this car, but this SVT Raptor Evo Enforcer unit does well. So you'll see in a second how it performs, but I will also show you my rally cross car as well. So depending on what you have, you can use either of those. But guys, rally raid's fine. Like you can do it in this Raptor, you can do it in a Nomad, you can do it whatever you like, whatever your car is. The score breaker set is far more important than the car selection. So keep that in mind going through there, you guys. Alright, we've got our F-150 Raptor. You'll see that the start of the slalom's right there. I like to just back up a little bit, get a little bit of a run at it, so that way we carry some speed going in. I think that's really helpful. In this first opening section, don't be shy about using a little NOS to carry some speed through here, because this is pretty much a straight line. And then as you kind of get towards the exit, you can slow down a little bit to make sure you're in control of the truck, or the car, or the bike, whatever you're using. As you come through here, the car will slide a little bit because you are off-road. Now, here's the trick. You cut through the gate there, or the fencing, and then full NOS on exit, and then that allows you to carry a lot more speed and get a handful of points on the exit there. And it also makes it so when you hit that checkpoint, you're lined up for it perfectly. That right there is the best run of the day. 21,611. 155K is a boatload of points for one of these singular events, and so that would definitely get you into platinum. The car that I use in the Escape is going to be one of the Alpha cars. Guys, you can use whatever Alpha you want. I mean, I use the Mark II because I kind of like that car, but honestly, pretty much any of these are going to be good for you. I think a lot of people are going to have the Red Bull RB14 or any of those. So as long as you've got one of the Alphas, that's what I would recommend here. You can do it in a hypercar, but I feel like they're a little lesser at dodging traffic. So I will show you my setup on the Alpha. Got this from Acor. He's an awesome dude. If you don't know who I'm talking about, search Acor, A-K-O-R, on YouTube. He's legit. So it's 10, 10, 0, 10, and then my braking's 5, 10 for the next 4. Brake balance is 2 from the rear, and the suspension comp front is 10, then 5, then 9, and then 7. So then it's 10, 10, 0, 0. That's how this car is set up. It handles really good for me. Is that super optimal? Not necessarily, but it'll definitely get you enough handling to get through that Escape. And definitely equip the Nitrous Chemist if you have. I literally just did it with Score Breaker for the footage and totally forgot to equip that set, so I probably could have done even a little better with that, but it's good enough that it'll definitely get me into plat. Alright, I've got my Alpha right here. We're doing this Escape. As you saw in the build, it's a pretty standard setup. Acor really set up the cars tremendously. I got some big shoes to fill trying to kind of start bringing content to you guys. But as you go up the street here, those big brick buildings, that's kind of my cue that I need to turn to the left and then the right, and then just start playing in traffic. This road's pretty good because you've got 8 lanes to play with, so just use all your nitrous to get up to speed, so that way you are running away from the circle as fast as you can. And just follow this road pretty much till the end. I mean, that's what I did. I got 10k yards. My camera was over in front of the mini-map, and I think that you guys would want to see that, so I'm trying to reshoot it and get a similar distance for you. This might take a few, because I know that it took me a couple of retakes to get here and not hit any traffic. But I definitely know that I'm doing far better in the Alpha than I am in the Hypercar. The Hypercars are just, they're heavier, they're a little more sluggish, and so they don't weave around traffic quite as smooth. They don't get around that corner quite as fast, and they don't pick up speed quite as fast either. So being able to get through all that without crashing. Obviously I did hit some traffic and we had a little bit of a slowdown, but we'll just utilize our shoulder here, get back on the road. Alright, and we actually beat my previous time, so that's great. I think that this score would be enough to definitely take you into Platinum. We got an extra 500 yards, threw a couple 2,000 points at it, so 45k on that escape. Probably going to treat you right, and it's pretty easy. You just get over and follow the road, so no problem. Let me show you my setup for the RSR. There's 2 different ways you can set this car up, in my opinion, and so I want to give you guys both of those so you can kind of do whatever works best for you. Obviously I've got my Nitro Chemist set on there. That's definitely important, that way you get the most out of your boost. Going in here, ESP's off, everything in first 4, you know, 10 10 0 10 is kind of how that's set up. Aero distribution is the big slider that I want you guys to kind of play with yourselves. The lower you run it, the more top speed this car has. This is a very top speed heavy track, so being able to do 250, 255, that's great. With it set like this, the car doesn't turn quite as good. So to kind of counteract that, I went and I put the brake balance and I leaned that forward a little bit. By leaning that forward, that allows the car, when you hit the brakes, it puts the weight on the front wheels, so it kind of forces the car to dip, and it puts the weight over the, you know, the steering wheels, or the wheels that steer the car, I guess you could say. So for that reason, you kind of drive it a specific way, like get on the brakes and turn at the same time, and that helps the car turn. It doesn't really like to turn under acceleration too much, but for this specific track, you've got a little better top speed. If you find that this setup doesn't work for you and you're not happy with the settings I have here, take this slider and just bump it up and go heavy with it. The higher you go with that, it rotates the car more on the nose. It'll make the tail feel a little slidey. So for me, I liked running in, you know, 2 clicks in. I think that's good. So for me, it's 2, 10, 10, 10, 10. Brake balance, I've got, like I said, faded forward. The suspension, I just stiffened it up all around. I don't have all the finite details on it perfect yet. And I don't want to even gas you guys up and say, oh, this is ideal. Like, I'm sure Acor will have an awesome build on this car later, but this is what I'm using now. And then camber all the way out, and then ARB and front and rear all the way at 10. So that's my setup for the RSR, and it's what you see in the gameplay footage.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Alright, we've got the Force Porsche. It's going to be solid. We got tuned for super speed, impossible handling. Let's see how we do. You'll see that we were walking away from my Ghost, and we were on the NOS before.
Driving from St. Louis, Missouri to Detroit, Michigan.
It does handle a little boaty this way, so depending on what your needs are, like if you feel like the car's not turning, give it some more aero in the front, because that'll be your move. But out of the gate, we are now going 20-30 mile an hour faster than what the other Porsche was doing. I could do like 240 with the other one. Under full NOS, maybe 244. So watch, there it is. Watch me just walk it. It's using, I'm using NOS on my previous shot, and now here we are with this setup, just cruising. So I rather like the way this car is now. You kind of need to use the brakes to transfer the weight to the front tires because there's not much downforce up there. But so it's kind of like you brake and then steer, and then brake and then steer. And what that allows the car to do is have a really good top speed and still turn a little bit. I'd be reluctant to go any less aero than this. But I think that this aero setup, it's a bit more boaty to drive. I'm not gonna even pretend it's not. But I think the top speed, because this track has a lot of straightaways, like we're directly competing with a car that handles a lot better, ish. And then we've got this one, which is a just demon in the straightaways. I mean, it goes 10-15 miles an hour faster. Pretty good handling little car, actually. I mean, it does not turn as nice as you'd like it to, and you can bring that aero up and make it turn better, but the fact that we can go considerably faster than that other build or the other setup on it is kind of what I'm chasing right now. Like right now, we are going 15 miles an hour faster than the other setup, and so we're walking away and just gaining distance on it. We're definitely going to set a better time than what I did on the previous run. And it wasn't super clean, and I think as I learn the track more, I'll probably do a little better. But because there's top speed sections of this track, you want to have as much of this dialed in as you can. Allows the car to accelerate really well. It's definitely going to be a preference thing. Do you want the car to turn better? Give it a little more aero in the front. You want it to be faster? Put a little more in the back. Slide that slider backwards.
Coming up to Detroit, famous for IndyCar.
Just burn that whole tank of NOS, get up to speed there.
Master of Motown Records.
Very good. Obviously we hit the walls and stuff. I think this is, you get sub 4 no problem. Just being really clean with it, but that kind of gives you an idea. I mean, we were 4 seconds faster than what I did before. It's got a good top speed. It turns a little wider with this setup, so kind of mess with that in the handling slider yourself, but I think that's what I'm going to go with for now. I'm pretty happy with that run. Here's my setup for the Evo Rallycross car. Obviously Nitro Chemist set on there. It's nothing crazy. I mean, they're kind of all over the place in my perks. They're not min-max, but having double nitrous is nice. Traction control on, ABS all the way up, ESP off, drift assist all the way up. So 10, 10, 0, 10. And then I got this set up from Acor, so he's running 2, 4, 10, 10, 10, 10, 7, 5, 5, 7, 8, 0, 0, 10, 10. He might make a correction for this. He does great stuff, but it's what I'm using. And more than anything, I just wanted to be able to talk you guys through how to do the race. Alright, Rallycross Stage 5. I do play manual. When I'm doing that, I like to use the nitrous at the beginning of the gear, kind of when, like, you make peak power at the top of the gear in a real car, right? So just use a little bit of nitrous at the start, and then kind of to get out of the corners or get the car up to full speed. About 180 is this car's cruising speed, so we'll just kind of sit there. We're going to brake at the 50, maybe a little before the 50 actually. Yeah, about 75 would have been nice. Use that nitrous down the backside of the hill. Let it recharge as we get into this section. Tap the brakes, downshift. Run this uphill section in 5th. Ooh, not clean. Tapping some walls. Hairpin turn, lots and lots of brakes. Using the downshift. Running back up through the gears. We got a sharp corner here, so don't go too crazy. One thing you want to be careful, you guys, is these walls will dead stop you sometimes. Like, they're textured in a way that if you just happen to hit it just right, it'll like stop your car dead and you'll be wishing you hadn't done that. Alright, 150, we'll hit the brakes at the 50. We're on tarmac there. Boost is looking full. We're going to give a couple squeeze there. I, by habit, usually like downshift a gear and hit the brakes as I'm entering corners. Unless it's one that I know I'm just going to be full bore acceleration through. But that usually works pretty well. Coming through the markers. We'll brake at the 50 again. That was about the 75. And we cut it a little early, so I think the 50 wouldn't have been too bad. Good straightaway here. We want to get the car back up to speed. So using a little extra nitrous that we typically wouldn't use, just because this is where you can make up a lot of your time. If you're going 5-10 miles an hour faster than somebody, you're gonna walk past them and their ghost would be, right? Let our nitrous recharge as we click into 6th. Use our boost to run up the hill. We're about halfway done. We're doing alright. This is my first run on this track, you guys, so, you know, I'm not going for perfection here, not going for world records. Just, here's the easy way, here's a smooth way to get plat, is kind of how I'm looking at it. Ooh, should have used a little more brakes there. Maybe dipped a couple tires into the dirt. Alright, going into this, we're going to brake before our sign. Pretty smooth. Alright, our nitrous is looking kind of empty. I want to let that recharge a little bit. But I'm a glutton for punishment, so we'll let it charge through this corner. 2 tires in the dirt, makes us turn a little sharper. I like that. Coming down the hill. Oh, a little aggressive with that. Car got a little loose. Get back up to our cruising speed of about 180. That's nice. Angle a little to the right there. Nice. Here's a right-hander. I'm going to do it wide open. Sweet. 10% left. We got about half boost. Get the car up to the 180 it likes to be at. Just chill, let it charge up. Okay, we're coming up on the finish, so we're going to use all of our boost. Get the car up to 190. Nice.
Watch them hit the gas.
Definitely not a bad time. We'll see what we get for a score. As long as we get around 120. Oh yeah, solid. 127 on the points. I could probably take a couple seconds off that easily. I made some mistakes, but really, the goal is to get platinum. So I think that's a good platinum score for us. Alright, here's my setup for the Concept Pulse Performance. It's the Force car this week. It's pretty good. Obviously I've got my Nitrochemist on there. For the Pro settings, it's 10-10, 0-10. And then for the aero, I've got that backed off to 4. Gearbox I have at 9. Tire grip is 10-10. And then brake power is 10. Brake balance is 7. Suspension cop front is 8. Rev front is looking like 7, 8. And then for the camber, I've got that sitting at 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3, 3, and then ARB. I've got it 7 and then 8. Is this perfect? Not. I don't know. I only did that one race, and it's a lot of straight lines, but I was able to handle the car no problem. It felt fine for me, and I think that as long as you don't hit too many walls or anything, you'll have really no problem getting into the Platinum with this car setup. Alright, we're going to grab our Concept Performance Forced car. See how we do on the US Speed Tour East.
US Speed Tour East's final part, stage number 8. Who will be the best from Detroit, Michigan, back to New York City?
Just trying to get the car back up to top speed. Get our cruising speed going here. Alright, so it likes to sit around 180, or excuse me, 280. So want to pulse it, try to keep it up around the 90s. I used a lot of that to just kind of get us going, but this is definitely going to be a straight line track. This car looks like the Batmobile, man. Turbo jack. A little bit of slowing down there. Not hitting the wall is ideal. So far, this track is really presenting itself as a very top speed oriented track. This might be one you do with a homie and draft. Little burst nos to get us back to speed. So the biggest thing is just carrying momentum through this particular stage. This car does not feel bad to drive. You guys see the move there? It's like kind of just save the nos, and then when I use the brakes and then grab a gear to go through a corner, I just immediately use that nitrous to get right back up to speed. Excuse me? This feels very good. I didn't really play with the tuning too much, just kind of set it up based on what other alpha cars have been set up as. I was like, well, we'll just do this. And it's handling very predictably. It doesn't feel like it's all over the road. Trying to keep our speed up. Got about 30% left. We'll let that nitrous recharge. Sorry I'm not talking a whole lot. I'm trying to really focus. This is the first time I've done the track. And I rather enjoy the track. I like the switchbacks here. But that's my biggest piece of advice for people is really just make sure you're using your nitrous to get out of trouble, and you know, don't ever have extra. Like if it's full, squirt, you know, use a little bit. But getting a clean run and not bouncing off the walls and just using the brakes accordingly, it's going to really be the best move. Those little chicanes like that, you want to just do a little bit of steering input and just set up a nice straight line so you can maintain a lot of speed through them.
Final leg of the final stage, New York, New York. As they say, if you can make it here,
easy clap.
you can make it anywhere.
Car felt very good. I'm really happy with the way it handles. Like I say, there's probably going to be somebody that can set it up better than me that's got more experience in the game, but I think 129,000 points is plenty to get us in plat. Here's the setup I use for the Corvette C3 Fire Edition. I'll be honest, I'm kind of new at tuning the cars, and so it's probably not going to be nearly as optimal as like what A-Core does, but overall it gets us through. Obviously we got the Alchemist set on there, and then traction control 10-10, ESP 0, drift assist 10. Aero distribution, I went towards the rear. It's a long track, a lot of straightaway. I wanted to have a little bit to turn because you want to go through the chicanes, so I was running it too high. If you want to get really spicy, run it low, but I think 2 is probably the minimum I would play with. Gearbox, I had it sitting there because as you go higher, it didn't accelerate quite as good in 4th gear. So for the sake of 1 mile an hour, I went 9 on the gearbox, but you could probably go 10 if you wanted to. That's really personal preference. For grip, 10 on both those, brake power all the way up. Brake balance, I went towards the front, so that way when I'm stopping and trying to turn, it turns like I'd like it to. Suspension cop 9, rebound in the front, I've got that sitting at 8. And then rear is 10-10, I stiffened it up. It's kind of a, it had a lot of body roll, so I got really, really stiff. And then for the camber, we've got 1-1, and then ARB is 10-10. Is that perfect? Is that the best there is out there? I don't know. A-Core will probably give us something solid, but this is what I use in the gameplay footage, and it definitely got me through. It was pretty sturdy. I had no problem doing a decent time, and I think that anybody that picks this up will probably be okay with it. Alright, we've got our Fire Corvette. I love this thing.
Stage number 3 of the U.S. Speed Tour East, leaving Miami for Dallas, Texas.
This is a unique situation because this car is kind of boaty. So you want to set it up to be able to handle these corners like that, but also have enough top speed to make it work. So that's kind of why I gave you guys the setup that we did. We're not really going to use the nitrous. You guys, you see the nitrous really isn't doing too much. I tried to carry too much speed through there. We got a little bit of a bounce. That's alright. As long as we're going above 245, we're cool. That's top speed. It's cruising thing for this. It's like, actually, if you use nitrous, low key slows the car down because it rev banks so hard. So you really want to just save your nitrous for the corners. Don't be afraid to use the brakes, and then just get right back on the gas. With these, you want to kind of just line those up, and don't be afraid to kind of get up on the curbing a little bit. It's going to give you a lot cleaner line through there. As little steering input as possible, because like I say, this car with this current setup is kind of boaty, but it's going to give you a little better top speed, which is, I mean, we're going flat out. I'm driving with one hand, right? Like, you want to have that speed there. I'm so used to grabbing like 2 or 3 gears when I downshift like that much, or slow down that much. But because it's only a 4-speed, that you can almost just keep it in 4th. But that's why we save our nitrous, right? Like, for that situation, we slow down a bunch. Alright, we got this big loop. I know we're going to go down to at least 3rd. Just throw it in 4th and just accelerate right back up to 240. And just get cruising again. It's kind of a funny car for that. I like it. But you really want to, like, those sections can be really complicated if you give it too much steering input or your approach angle's wrong. Like here, there's, like that is a perfect example of what happens if you don't set them up straight. That one, I had poor line choice. I should have set up a little more to the left and not bounce like that, but it's alright. Ooh, bouncing all over the place. Get us back up to 230 at least. 220 and we're out of NOS. Ooh. Shame. That bounce hurt us a lot. I have the suspension really stiff on this car, so that way it feels more planted when I'm turning, but that bounce made the car really unsettled and made it hard to turn back there to kind of avoid that accident with the wall. Take a look at the time and see if that's something I can improve on. And I might come back a little later this week and try to improve my times just for myself. Mess with the tunings or something a little bit, but I do want you guys to get something early for those people that want to work on it this week, and just, you know, maybe they don't have all week to work on the Summit. Maybe they've only got today or tomorrow. So kind of get you going on that and kind of set the standard. Like, this is something we will be doing as we move into Crew Motorfest, something this channel is going to be doing a lot of, and my skills for tuning the cars, setting you guys up with real success, will improve hand over fist day after day as I immerse myself more and more in the game. I mean, I'll be honest, I've had a huge crutch, which is the man of Acor, who does all the builds and stuff. He's fantastic. And so I didn't need to really learn how to tune or build because he was. And so this is the first chance that I've had to really be like, okay, I'm going to do a Summit video this week. I'm going to do my own setups before anybody else gets theirs out and just see how my setups do. Will they be better? I don't really expect them to. But I will at least, proof of concept, get into plat with my own setup, my own build, and, you know, show you guys, talk you through kind of the situation, so that way if you're looking for some help, you're looking for a different take on things, maybe a little bit of voice, like, there's a lot of people that do the summits and stuff, but they don't talk. They just kind of do raw gameplay footage, and you get what you get. And there's a handful of other people that are kind of looking for a little bit more tailored experience to them, kind of like what I'm doing for you guys now. So hopefully this is some content that you guys will enjoy. I know the video is traumatic and very, very long, but that's okay. So we use our boost to get back up to speed for this long straightaway. Not bad. 526, we had some bobbles. That easily could be pushed down to like probably 515. Take 11 seconds off of that, but we'll see what we got. 128k points. That's plenty. That'll get you to plat. That'll get you to plat, which is the goal here. Here's the setup that I have on the Lamborghini Countach LP5000. I love this car. It's one of my favorites. Nitrous Chemist set all the way over, definitely. And then pro settings, I got this from Acor. So 10, 10, 0, 10, and then your arrow. We're running 3 on the rear, and then 10, 10, 10, 10. Brake balance is 8. Suspension comp is 2. That's 3. Rear is 9, and then 10, and then 0, 0, 10, 10. This car cooks. Alright, I like this Lamborghini. This track's pretty fun. We ran it in the Audi Avant RS, Avant, or whatever it was. It was a couple summits ago. It was pretty fun. You want to beware of these trees. They will stop you dead. So give yourself a couple extra feet of space on both sides of the track, and you'll thank yourself later. I like to get the car up to a decent speed, you know, 200 mile an hour, 210, 220 through here is pretty smooth. Nice long gears in the Lambo. But the biggest thing, guys, you can do this in any car you want. I don't think there's really a need for me to show you this in multiple cars. On some of the other events that I've shown you today, it's like you can use Rally Raid, or you can use Rally Cross, or you can use Alpha, or you can use Hypercar. Like, those are where I think showing you a couple different options is good. But in this case, just pick your best street race car that you are most comfortable in and just set it up and go zoom, right? It's 3 laps, so there's the long straightaway, then there's this one. We want to get our nitrous full up so we can burn it all in that long straightaway, so kind of just taking it easy here. Alright, as we come down the hill here, we're coming into the straightaway section. Carry your momentum through there. I got almost a full tank, been saving that, so we'll click through the gears. I'm going to use it all, get up to 220. We're about to lap our objective. That kind of gives you an idea of what the pace we're on right now. Use all that NOS to get back up to speed, and there we go. Pretty solid. It's not crazy record-breaking time, but I think a 2:37 is not bad around that track. The Raptor Evo build has not changed from what we did earlier. All we did was put a Nitrochemist set on it. So if you've already taken a look at that, basically 10s across the first 4, and then kind of see the rest there. A-Core has got it dialed in pretty well, and it's what I'll be using for this event. Alright, Rally Raid. Last event for me. Let's make it a good one.
To St. Louis, Colorado to Missouri.
Throw it into a high gear. Don't be afraid to use the brakes coming down through here to make sure you don't clip the wall. Those walls are super, super scary because they will kill you. I mean, you'll come to a dead stop. It's all downhill, so you don't want to use too much of your nitrous here because you will use it as soon as we come through this section. The biggest thing, you guys, is just rolling that Nitrochemist set. Just making sure you've got a Nitrochemist set is huge. There's so many players that don't have that. And then the score breaker set for when you're doing any score-based activity, that's really going to separate you from a lot of the other people. So it's like if you haven't spent the time to go and get a full set of parts, that's really worth it. It really is. And if you're on PC or on console and you need some people to try to get some more parts with, we don't have all that much time left in Crew 2, but when we get on Motorfest, there's going to be just a ton of us in my Discord that are going to be playing the new game. And we're going to be rolling parts and min-max and stuff and just getting crazy with it. So if you're looking for some people to drive with, vibe with, if you need a crew, come join the Cornnut crew. We'll get you taken care of. We're late to the game coming into the Crew 2, but we are going to be day 1 adopters of the Crew Motorfest. And we've got some of the best players in the world from Need for Speed Unbound that's coming over to that. And some of the best just overall people and community you can be a part of. So the Discord is 18. So if you're a younger fella or lady, sorry, it's just not a place for kids. But if you're a mature adult, or at least an adult that can handle yourself accordingly, it's not a bad place. We're all a little immature. But you guys will see, I'm just trying to stay smooth going through this off-road section, doing the best I can to not hit the walls. This truck does alright. I would prefer a lot of other things. I think out of all the driving disciplines, I think Rally Raid is my least favorite. think I do like the bikes more than I like the Rally Raid. So 4th gear will take me up to about 134, 135 right here. So I'll stay in 4th gear up the hill section. 5th gear is really only utilized when you're going in the downhill part, but you want that so you can get your top speed. But for this, because I'm not bouncing off the rev limiter and we're going uphill, I'll pretty much just stay in 4th this whole time. So whatever car you're in, just kind of take note of what the RPMs are doing. If you feel like you're lugging it and it's not really getting up to speed, that's when you're going to want to grab the next gear down and make sure that the car's in the power. See, we were losing all kinds of momentum up that hill, so that's why I downshifted. Then we grab 5th and get back on the speed side of things coming down the back part. We're coming up at 90%, so we can be a little aggressive with our boost utilization here. Looking at the mini-map's really helpful too, you guys. If you can see what's coming next, it allows you to really set up that corner. Sub 4 on that track, I think, is definitely pretty solid. We didn't make any huge mistakes. Don't get me wrong, there's always room for improvement there, but a 355 is probably, yeah, 137,000 points. That's plenty. Let's see what that does for us overall going into the summit this week. Most of these tracks I did first or second try. There was a couple I did reset. Alright, we are sitting on 1.3 million points. That is a pretty much guaranteed platinum. If you get a 1.2, you're usually in plat. So 1.3 is really good. And we're currently ranked 21st in the world. So that's pretty sweet. Mind you, there's not that many other people that have done it. That's my buddy Keto. He's already got it all knocked out. And he's only got me by like literally 100 points. Like not even a full 100 points. So I might go back and redo some of these. But that kind of gives you an idea where we're at. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate you. Lock into this channel if you are going to be playing the Crew Motorfest, because this is just kind of getting my name out there for the current crew players, because when we go on Motorfest, we're going to be hot and heavy, and we're the best crew in Unbound, and we gave the best content to the people. So expect that from Motorfest, because that's what it's going to be. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.